Planets.
You remember Battle of the Planets? Saturday mornings, 1978. 5 heroes in bird-themed costumes saving Earth from the evil Spectra. You watched G-Force win every single week, and then you went outside to play, completely fine. No nightmares, no difficult questions. Just the good guys winning again. But here's what nobody told you. You were watching a ghost. A cleaned-up silhouette of a Japanese series where soldiers burned to death on screen, where a villain threw himself screaming into a volcano, where a father died in front of his own son, and where, in the very last episode, every hero you loved went on a mission they already knew would kill them. The show you watched wasn't just edited, it was gutted, and the things they removed weren't removed because they were gratuitous. They were removed because they were true.
Here's Ozark. I read.
This is an emergency red alert, Commander. Report at once by any available means.
But the show really was.
As long as we're not here when they do.
Outsmarted!
Hey!
To American parents and network executives, Battle of the Planets was exactly what Saturday morning cartoons should be. 5 young heroes, Mark, Jason, Princess, Keop, and Tiny, defended Earth from alien threats with cool vehicles and flashy moves. The Phoenix ship transformed into a flaming bird. The bad guys retreated. Nobody important got home for pancakes. It was colorful, exciting, and completely safe. The kind of show you could park your kid in front of while you made breakfast. Underneath that bright American exterior was something else entirely. The original Japanese series was brutal. People didn't just lose battles, they met horrific ends on screen. Cities were obliterated, civilians perished in the wreckage. Major characters sacrificed themselves and didn't come back. The body count made G.I. Joe look like Sesame Street. So how did one become the other? Scissors and a robot. American distributor Sandy Frank Productions took 85 of the original 105 episodes and performed surgery on them. Civilian deaths were edited out, with 7 cheerfully explaining that every building had been evacuated just in time. That robot didn't exist in the original. He was invented specifically to patch over the holes left by the cutting, reassuring American children that no one who mattered actually died in any of that. You got the costumes. You got the Phoenix. You just didn't get the stakes.
Wonder what they'll look like this time, Mark?
Probably two-headed.
Well, they say 2 heads are better than 1.
Not on the same body.
Here's what you missed. The henchmen who burned alive. Every week in Battle of the Planets, when G-Force stormed a Spectra base, the bad guys retreated. Their ships might explode in the distance. The implication was always the same. They scattered, regrouped, and came back next week with a new mech. Zoltar's army was a revolving door, endless and consequence-free. In the original, those henchmen didn't escape. They burned alive, mission after mission. Human soldiers following orders, meeting violent ends in the same battles your heroes were winning. G-Force wasn't just defeating enemies, they were ending lives, every single time. This wasn't shock value. It established something the American version deliberately dismantled, that the heroes carried real weight on their shoulders. Remove death from war, and you remove the moral complexity entirely. You turn soldiers into props, conflict into theater. The original understood that victory has a price, even when you're on the right side. The American version just made it a light show. Ever wonder why Spectra never seemed to run out of soldiers? Now you know. In the original, they actually did. The parents who were executed in front of a child. In Battle of the Planets, Jason was the hot-headed second in command. Aggressive, reckless, always pushing against authority. The show treated it as flavor, something for 7 to cluck about, something to make him interesting. The attitude without the origin. In the original, his rage wasn't a personality trait. It was a wound that never closed. Jason's parents had been members of Spectra, the enemy organization, who decided to defect. They found a conscience and tried to get out. Spectra's response was to send assassins, armed women who tracked them down and killed them both for the betrayal. Jason was on a beach when it happened, building a sandcastle. One gunshot, then another, and his world ended in the space of a few seconds. Chief Anderson found the boy, changed his name to hide his identity from Spectra, and raised him as his own. The organization Jason spent his entire career fighting was the same one that orphaned him at point-blank range on a summer afternoon. Every mission wasn't just a mission. It was personal in a way that had no American equivalent, because the American version stripped out the entire backstory and left you with an attitude that had no source. In Battle of the Planets, Jason is the rebel of the team. Interesting enough. In the original, Jason is a survivor who has been hunting the people who killed his parents since before he was old enough to drive.
We haven't been picked up by their defense satellites.
Big dummies! Just like Texas back on Earth.
The Firebird's real cost. The fiery phoenix transformation was the ultimate weapon in Battle of the Planets. That flaming bird sweeping across the screen, Spectra bases crumbling in its wake. Exciting. Spectacular. The signature moment of the whole show. In the original, that same maneuver was a weapon of mass destruction. When it tore through enemy positions, it didn't scatter them, it incinerated them. Entire bases full of personnel were obliterated in walls of fire. It was closer to a tactical nuclear strike than a dramatic escape, and the series treated it that way, as a last resort that came with a cost the team had to live with afterward. The original forced its heroes to weigh that every time they deployed it. The American version turned it into a triumph sound and a cutaway. One version gave you a burden, the other gave you a logo.
His lesson. Professor, are you ready to tell us how we can stop those deadly machines you created for Spectra?
The soldiers who died, spelling out their goodbye. This one doesn't have an American equivalent because Sandy Frank cut the entire episode. In the run-up to the original series' final arc, the last surviving soldiers from Colonel Cronus' personal squadron attempt one final act of service, leading G-Force through enemy territory to Spectra's hidden headquarters. They know how dangerous it is. They go anyway. They walk straight into an ambush. The first soldier dies immediately, cut down before the trap is fully revealed. The last survivor is mortally wounded, but still breathing. He can't speak, so he reaches out and finds Princess's hand in the dark and taps. Morse code, letter by letter, through his fingers into her palm as his strength fails. Farewell, Science Ninja Team. He dies mid-message, tapping out his last words on the hand of a young woman who has to hold herself together long enough to decode it. The scene reshapes everything that follows. Princess later begs Mark not to throw his life away recklessly, the grief from that moment still living in her. It's the point where the war stops feeling like a series of missions and starts feeling like a countdown towards something inevitable. Sandy Frank cut it without a word of explanation. American audiences never felt that shift, never understood why the team's emotional register changes in those final episodes, because the moment that changed it simply didn't exist for them.
10. Whoops, I'm afraid you're gonna have to wait for that metal tiding.
The father who chose to die. In Battle of the Planets, Colonel Cronus was an enigmatic figure, a mysterious pilot connected to Mark in ways the show kept vague and never resolved. He appeared occasionally, helped out, then vanished. The adaptation was such a tangle of out-of-order episodes that most viewers barely registered he'd left. In the original, Colonel Cronus was Mark's biological father. And he didn't vanish. He flew a mission that required someone to be sacrificed to neutralize a catastrophic weapon targeting Earth. He made the call himself, knowingly, without telling his son what he was about to do, until it was too late to stop him. Mark had to watch it happen in real time. Watch his father choose duty over survival, over him, and then carry that forward for the rest of the war. The cruelty the original series applied to this storyline is almost architectural. Episodes later, Mark is tricked by Spectra into believing his father might still be alive. He allows himself to hope. It's a trap, of course. Mark watches the sunset in tears afterward, unable to finish the quiet speech he usually gives himself after missions. The show doesn't let the wound close. It keeps pressing on it. By removing all of this, Sandy Frank didn't just cut a death scene. They removed the entire backbone of the main character's arc. Mark's drive, his complicated feelings about sacrifice, the inheritance of his father's legacy, all of it evaporated. You watched a hero for 85 episodes without ever understanding what had actually shaped him.
Blacked out for just a second, that's all. Take it easy. I'm all right.
The villain who screamed and jumped into a volcano. Zoltar in Battle of the Planets was the standard Saturday morning villain. Masked, theatrical, occasionally hinting at a feminine side that was never explained, retreating every week to fight another day. Evil as a function, not a character. In the original, Zoltar was something far more disturbing. He was a genetically engineered being, two twins fused into a single body before birth by the alien intelligence behind Spectra, who had never chosen any part of what he was. The evil, the mask, the mission, all of it manufactured. Zoltar had been built as a weapon from conception and had spent his entire life serving a purpose he was engineered to serve. Then, in the first series finale, Zoltar discovers the final truth. His master was never planning to let anyone survive. The operation he had sacrificed everything for wasn't a tool for world domination. It was a mechanism to destroy the entire planet. Zoltar had committed atrocity after atrocity, betrayed every human impulse for a master who had simply been using him as an instrument all along and had no intention of keeping a single promise. Zoltar breaks completely. He stands at the edge of a volcanic crater, not with fury, but with the anguish of someone who has just understood that their entire existence was a lie designed by someone else. Then he jumps into the lava, still screaming on the way down. American children saw a retreating villain. Japanese children saw the cost of being engineered to serve evil, and what it looks like when the mechanism finally comprehends what it is.
It was all my fault. I did what I thought was right, Chief.
You will be confined to Center Neptune until the security board reviews your case and decides what action to take.
The ending that was never shown. Battle of the Planets ran 85 episodes and simply stopped. G-Force was still out there, still fighting, still winning. The series faded into syndication like a song that stops before its final chord. No ending, no closure, just an infinite loop. The original finale was episode 105, and what it depicted was something American networks would never have permitted on Saturday morning television. Jason had been shot before the final mission began. Not wounded, not recovering. He was dying, slowly, running on whatever was left before his body gave out entirely, choosing to spend it on one last operation because stopping wasn't something he was capable of. When G-Force finally finds him at Spectra's headquarters, he's barely conscious on the ground. He's already said his goodbyes to himself. But he wakes up long enough to say them out loud. He looks at Princess and tells her to get along better with Mark, to leave this dangerous life as soon as she can, to find the kind of happiness that people outside this war get to have. He looks at Kiop and tells him to listen to Princess, to stop giving her grief, and that he always envied the two of them for being like real siblings to each other. He looks at Tiny and apologizes for years of disobeying orders, and when Tiny, tears streaming down his face, refuses to accept the apology and says he'll only accept it after Jason gets better, Jason smiles at him. Then he tells all of them to go. Zoltar is escaping. Get moving! They go. They have to go. And Jason stays behind. The rest of the team makes it out. Princess, Mark, Kiop, Tiny, they fly away on the Phoenix, still protecting Earth, still doing the job. The camera finds Jason's empty seat and holds on it. Not on the Victory, not on the survivors. On the empty seat where the second in command used to be. That's the image the original chose to close on. The American version gave you an infinite loop of victories without stakes, heroism without cost, war without consequence. The creators of the original understood something that the executives in a 1978 boardroom decided American children couldn't handle. The best heroes aren't the ones who always survive. They're the ones willing to give everything. You loved G-Force. You just never knew how their story ended. Here's what they cut. Soldiers burning alive in battles the heroes won. A child watching his parents executed on a summer beach. The real weight behind the Firebird weapon. A dying soldier tapping out his last words in Morse code on someone's hand. A father who chose the mission over his own son. A villain who screamed all the way into a volcano. And a finale where the second in command of your favorite team said goodbye to everyone he loved and stayed behind so the rest of them could finish the job. They tried to protect you from all of it. Somewhere in a boardroom, executives decided American kids couldn't handle what Japanese kids had been watching for years. Whether that protection made the show better or hollowed out something that deserved to be whole, that's worth sitting with. Which of these hit you hardest? Tell me in the comments. If this changed how you see something you loved, subscribe. I've got more of these. More Saturday mornings that weren't what you thought they were. G-Force was always willing to give everything. You just never knew it. Aha!